Murals by Gardner proudly presents painting large-scale logos. In this video, I want to show you how to transfer a design from basically a piece of paper onto a large surface, and then how to paint it in. We'll be covering this logo, and this logo. So, beginning with this logo, this is the drawing that was submitted for approval. The dugout would look like that, and the logo that belongs to the school looks like this. We begin by dividing the logo into equal square units. In this case, 4 units high and 3 units wide. When we create a grid of equal square units, we'll see that it fills the logo from top to bottom, but then leaves a slight gap between the side of the grid and the sides of the letters. The actual middle of the logo is split down the very inside of the letter C, which then will line up with this. Then we determine the middle of the wall, the dugout here, and I put a little dashed line to indicate the middle of the wall. I established the top border of my logo and the bottom of my logo, and then I grid that top and bottom line into 4 equal parts and 3 equal parts wide, with 1.5 units to the left of the center line and 1.5 units to the right of the center line, keeping the 3 units right in the middle. The grid units should be square, and while my taped units are not quite perfect, they will work for the rough sketch that we're going to establish right now. When we compare the taped grid with the paper logo that's been gridded accurately, we see that the taped grid fills from top to bottom, and we have a slight gap from the left side of the letters and on the right side of the letters, just like we see on the paper example. The middle of the logo is right down the middle of the interior of the letter C, and when we remove the tape, we have a very accurate but yet imperfect rough sketch. So now it's time to clean it up and prepare it for painting. For this, we need a 48-inch level. If you're not familiar with the level, it has a small bubble in the middle that when everything is either horizontal or perfectly vertical, the bubble is in the middle position. Now we need to line up all the lines with each other so that they're all perfectly vertical and perfectly horizontal. This is why we need a 48-inch level. Clean up that bottom line, it's sagging. Now, when it is done, now we have a perfect coloring book. And we are ready to start painting. It is simply a matter of picking the right size brush to fill the lines. Start with the yellow outline, add a white outline, and the job is finished. The next logo we're going to paint is the softball team's logo, simply consisting of a yellow softball with red threads and essentially a black and white emblem behind it. This is the artwork that the school provided me with as their emblem. And so, once again, I grid it into units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units wide. So that sets up my pattern. I begin by using the level to create a vertical line and a horizontal line. Then I grid it into 6 units wide, 6 equal units high, and now I'm ready to draw my bat and my ball and the home plate emblem. Once I've sketched that in like that, comparing it to the paper sketch, this is what I have to work with. Removing the tape in the middle, I create where my baseball, my round circle, is going to go. And for that, we're going to use a simple adjustable tool for a circle compass. An adjustable compass for making large circles can be made with a wooden yardstick and a pointer on one end and an adjustable lead holder on the other end. The caps unscrew, slide along the yardstick to the area you want them, and then the caps screw down and hold it in place. So with that tool, we can make a nice circle. Paint the white circle for the yellow softball. It needs a white background because yellow is too transparent to cover up the green background. Paint the rest of the logo gray. Add the yellow to the baseball. Add the red stripes. Add the black detailing to the gray with a little bit of a white stripe highlight, and you have another logo. And now it's time for the big one. How do we paint a large logo 20 feet off the ground? This one is how. Starting with the artwork, took a photograph of the wall and pencil sketch with colored pencil what the logo should look like, placing the head of the mascot just above the security light, and the ears go into the lettering, and the lettering flow across the top. So, starting with a blank wall, we're going to have to bring in the big machines. Yes, we're going to need a lift mechanism to get ourselves up there about 20 feet off the ground. So, here is how we actually do the job. Beginning in the very middle of the wall, which is where they have the expansion crack, making it easy for us to know where the middle of the wall is, we lay in our top and bottom guideline in equal distance from the trim of the building. Then, beginning with the letter O, because that is the middle letter of the word E-O-Y-O-T-E-S, equal distance from both sides, letter O, we add in the letters T-E-S. Now that we know how far the word is going to go to the right of the center line, we can go to the left of the center line, equal distance, and begin our first letter, the letter C. And using tape, we have flexibility to lift the tape, move it over, do adjustments with it without doing any damage to the wall. And now it's a simple matter of painting inside of the lines. Not much different than a coloring book made up with taped outlines. Make sure that we use a masking paper to protect ourselves from any drops of paint on a windy day. We do not need that slipping down the side of a large building. So, at this point, we've got ourselves the word coyotes painted in green. It's time to add the yellow outlines, and so for this we repeat the process of taping off our guidelines, top and bottom, and equal distance from the edge of each letter, approximately 2 inches wide perhaps. Again, this is where the 48-inch level, the yellow tool with the bubble, comes in handy for equal distance from every edge of the letters. So once we've got it taped off, it's a repeat process. It's a coloring book, painted in yellow. Now it's time to add the mascot. For this, we refer back to the sketch where we see the head goes between the security light and the ears just poke up into the lettering. So let's go back to our sketch and grid it off. We got 6 squares units wide and 4 units high, with just the chin, the tip of the nose, and the back of the neck protruding slightly outside of the grid. And this will compensate for going a little bit below the security light and then up into the lettering. We prepare a space on the wall that matches our grid, 6 units wide, 4 units high, with the expansion crack as our center line. It's important to understand how we determined our square units. You do that by laying in your bottom line just above the security light and your top line where you want your artwork to stop, just inside of the letters. That gives you your top line and your bottom line. You divide that into the middle. That gives you your center line for the horizontal. And again, divide that into the middle, giving you your 4 equal squares. Now you know how tall each unit's going to be. Let's just say it's 18 inches. So now working off the center line, you'll go 18 inches to the left, 18 inches again, 18 inches one more time, 3 times to the left. You've got 3 times to the right, and you now got 6 units, 18 inches up and 18 inches wide. Now it's time to transfer the artwork from our sketch to the wall. So notice here we have a pencil sketch of the teeth, the nose just sticking off to the right, and the chin just sticking down below the grid. And it's meant to be difficult to see because this is when we can make our changes and make it, right before we apply permanent paint. Now we step back and we paint it in with the airbrush, just basically penciling it in darker once we know that it's correct. Remove the tape and then fill in the area completely with a strong black outline, and once again we have created a coloring book. Add in the green, add in the yellow, add the word skyline above it, and the job is done. I'm Jim Gardner. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you find some value in how I do the projects that I've done. Regardless of how you enjoy doing your artwork, what kind of artwork you enjoy doing, there's a market for service. If you can take your painting skills, your drawing skills, and put them into a form that serves a benefit to someone else. In this particular video, it was the benefit of schools, and in particular, the benefit of the athletic department for high schools. There is some money in that market. So anyway, whether it's jewelry, tattoos, sculpture, paintings, the point is, if it serves a purpose in someone else's life, that's when you can get paid for doing it. So, with that in mind, I promote my book called You Have the Talent, So Where Is the Money? And the answer is, the money lies in being of service to someone with your talent. The book is on the shelf at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and also from the publisher, BalboaPress.com. So, thanks again for watching it. I'm Jim Gardner.